We all like to think we've got a pretty good handle on things, right? That our intuition is a reliable guide. Well, I'm here to tell you that the way we see the world and those snap judgments we make every single day, they might be leading us completely astray. To see what I mean, let's just jump right in with a quick puzzle.
Okay, don't pull out a calculator, don't overthink it. Just what's the very first number that popped into your head? Seriously, go with your gut. You got it? Good.
So, be honest, did you say 10 cents? If you did, don't worry, you're in very good company. It's the answer that just feels right, you know? It's the one that jumps out at us. But it's also wrong. Let's just quickly do the math. If the ball is 5 cents and the bat is a dollar more than that, the bat is $1.05. Add them together and you get $1.10. So why on earth do our brains, which are so incredibly powerful, get this simple little problem so wrong so often? That little puzzle isn't just some party trick. Oh no, it's a perfect window into the two very different and often competing systems that are running in your head at all times. The Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman calls them System 1 and System 2. Think of it this way. System 1 is your fast, intuitive autopilot. It's the part of you that screamed 10 cents. System 2, on the other hand, is your slow, deliberate pilot, the one you have to consciously wake up to actually check the math. And here's the kicker. We live almost our entire lives on autopilot. Okay, let's try another one. Quick, off the top of your head. Are there more English words that start with K, like kitchen, or more words that have K as the third letter, like acknowledge? Right now, your autopilot is feeding you an answer, and it's using a really powerful mental shortcut to do it. And that shortcut has a name, the availability heuristic. It's so much easier to think of words that start with K, right? So our brain just assumes they must be more common. But in reality, it's not even close. There are about 3 times as many words with K as the third letter. It's a brilliant example of how our minds are just filled with these predictable and often totally incorrect biases. So, our internal world is already kind of counterintuitive. But guess what? So is the external world. It operates on these hidden rules we constantly misinterpret. And there is no better example of this than something we see every single day, a simple price tag. We tend to think of a price as just, well, a cost, what you have to pay. But it's so much more than that. A price is a signal. It's a piece of information, like a concentrated burst of data telling you everything you need to know about supply and demand. And when we ignore that signal, things can go very, very wrong. Just take a look at what happened in India when the government tried to control food prices. To help out farmers, they set a price floor, a minimum price. What happened? A massive surplus of grain that literally rotted in storage. Then, to help the poor, they set a price ceiling, a maximum price. The result? Severe shortages and people starving. In both cases, the policy achieved the exact opposite of what it was supposed to do. You see, messing with prices is like trying to find your way through a forest by smashing your compass. You destroy the very information you need to understand what's actually going on, and you almost always make the problem you're trying to solve even worse. So if prices are signals, what exactly are they signaling? Well, they're signaling the most fundamental force in all of economics, scarcity, the simple, unavoidable fact that there isn't enough of anything to satisfy all of our wants all of the time. Okay, picture this. You're rushing to catch a train, you're late, you grab a coffee, and it's ridiculously expensive. Your first thought, your gut reaction, is probably to blame the shop's sky-high rent. But what if that's completely backward? The economist Tim Harford points out that we get this completely reversed. See, when you're in a hurry, you become price blind. You'll pay almost anything for that convenient coffee. It is your desperate willingness to pay top dollar that makes that specific location so valuable in the first place. Your desperation sets the high rent, and that high rent then has to be reflected in the price of the coffee. So at the end of the day, it's not the landlord gouging the coffee shop that makes your latte so extensive. It's your own impatience that creates the high price. You're the one paying a premium for that incredibly scarce resource, a prime location at the exact moment you need it most. So what happens when our brain's intuitive, autopilot desire for things to be fair collides with these invisible and often brutal economic laws? Well, the results can be pretty disastrous.
And one of the most classic examples of this is rent control. The idea, it sounds so incredibly fair, right? Just cap the price of rent to make housing more affordable for everyone. It's a policy that's born straight from our intuitive System 1 desire for a good and just outcome. But the actual, real-world results are often catastrophic. The moment you cap the price, the moment you break that price signal, all the incentives change. Landlords suddenly have way less money and motivation to maintain their buildings. And why would a developer build a brand new apartment building if they know they can't charge a market rate for it? The end result is that the supply of good available housing actually shrinks. The policy that feels so fair, so right, ends up creating shortages and decay, hurting the very people it was designed to help in the first place. So let's recap. Our brains feed us fast, intuitive, and often wrong answers, and the world is run by these hidden rules that we frequently get completely backward. This toxic combination leads to one final, massive error: the illusion that we actually know what's going to happen next. It's called hindsight bias. You know the feeling. After something happens, a stock market crash, a surprise election result, our brain immediately cooks up this neat, tidy little story that makes the outcome seem like it was inevitable all along. We completely forget the chaos and uncertainty that existed just moments before it happened. And this is the real danger. By creating these false, tidy stories about the past, we become wildly overconfident in our ability to predict the future. We think we're seeing a clear pattern, when all we're really seeing is a story our brain made up after the fact to make itself feel better. So what's the takeaway from all this? It really boils down to two things. First, we have to recognize that our brain's autopilot is constantly feeding us simple, easy, and often completely wrong answers. And second, we have to understand that the world operates on these invisible principles, like price signals and scarcity, that often defy our gut feelings. Real intelligence, then, isn't about having all the answers. It's about knowing which of your own answers to question. And that really leaves us with one final thought. Knowing now that your mind is practically designed for predictable errors, and that the world doesn't always work the way it seems, what piece of common sense are you going to question first?